Shotgun with Charlie.
Riding shotgun refers to the practice of sitting next to the driver in a moving vehicle. The term riding shotgun came around after the time of the stagecoach, when somebody used to sit next to the driver holding a shotgun, in case they ran into bandits. My name is Charlie Cook, and I drive a lot. I like to talk to people while I'm driving, so I interview people in my car while I'm driving. Welcome to Riding Shotgun with Charlie. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of Riding Shotgun with Charlie. Today I have with me Danny and Cheryl Todd. Say hi.
Hi. Which one am I waving at?
All of them.
All of them.
I can bounce between all of these.
Hello.
Danny and Cheryl are from a couple of, not a couple of things, a lot of things. You have your finger in a lot of different.
Wear a lot of
hats. There we go. Well, the first thing that we're starting at, we're in Avondale, Arizona, and we are starting at their shop, their new shop. It is the Pot of Gold. What is it? The Pot of Gold Auctions?
Mm-hmm. Estate Auctions.
There we go. So we're going to put a link for that. You guys should check them out. But we are going to talk about gun stuff and DC Project stuff, and we're going to talk about AZFirearms. And you guys are going to drive me around. I'm going to drive you around. You're going to tell me where to go. Not that way, Dan. You're not telling me where to go there. But
don't give him permission to do that. And
right.
First, let me say, thank you so much for not only having us on your show and letting me ride shotgun, but also that you know the name of our store is not Arizona Firearms, because so many people make that, and it's an easy mistake to make.
Sure, it's an
I make the mistake.
But there is an Arizona Firearms, and that ain't us. So that's basically our slogan. There is an Arizona Firearms.
There is an Arizona
But that ain't us.
Oh my gosh. I love your little advertisement where you're like, you mean A to Z because you guys have everything? Yes, but.
Yes, thank you.
I haven't heard that in a while.
It's true. We got to listen to radio to hear that one.
Right. All right. So you guys are a fun couple to have around and to have on the show. This is great. So tell us, you guys have been together for a long time, since if it's bad to say since Dan was a young man, that makes that doesn't sound.
Let's just say I don't have
right.
enough toes and fingers to count it. Okay, they're like 30.
Or hairs left on your head anymore.
Is it 34?
It's 34.
34
Oh my
years.
gosh!
We're turning
34.
right here.
34 years. God
Yikes.
bless you. That's awesome. Good for you guys.
That's a
Good for you
long
guys.
The next time I'm going to do it different.
Nice.
Yeah, real nice. So you guys been together for a long time. How did you guys get into shooting? How did you guys get into gun stuff?
Well, my story is shorter than his. Plus, as he said, there is a microphone nearby, so traditionally that means he doesn't get to speak, and I do. So, because who are you?
I'm the other guy.
He is
That's
the
right.
other guy.
You're the other guy, Dan. So I grew up with guns. I grew up in a very male-centric household. It was my dad and my 3 brothers.
Really? Any sisters?
No sisters.
Wow. My
Parents were divorced when I was 12, so it was just me and the guys.
Gotcha.
What were you going to say?
My father died when I was young. I was raised by my mother and 4 women, and we all had long hair and earrings.
And
Oh wow!
and you know what? My maiden name is Cook.
Yes, you told me this
We're
last
like
year.
the same people, only not.
Oh no!
Bizarro.
I got 2 cooks in the car.
Right, 2 cooks in the car.
Too many cooks in the kitchen. So, being in a very male-centric household, we always had guns around. My dad had guns pretty much everywhere. Now, people listening today are going to clutch their pearls. Oh my gosh, he was so irresponsible. He had guns in the drawers, and he had guns in the closet, and he had guns in the shed, and he had guns in the garage.
Yeah.
But he also trained all of us. He took the time. We understood what each tool was, what it was for, what it was not for.
Yeah.
We knew how to load them and unload them and clean them, but I usually played the girl card. Sorry, girls. There is a girl card, and sometimes I play it, okay?
All the time she plays it.
All the time.
And so we just, he would be gone all the time, working, trying to put food on the table for a household of 4 kids. And he was very responsible because he wanted us to be able to protect ourselves. And at the time, my brother, my older brother, he was like 15. I would have been 12, 13. So we were old enough to understand what we were doing. We don't play with them. And we were alone a lot because he was working all the time. We lived out in the boonies half the time. And we had ample opportunity to take them out and go show off, or take them out and, you know, do the wrong thing with them. And never once did any of us do that.
I remember being a kid, I didn't know we had guns in our house until I was married and had a kid of my own and I got into gun stuff. But I do remember, like, it took a long time before this finally, before I finally remembered it, but I remember reaching underneath my grandpa's couch looking for toys, and I felt a shotgun. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't touch this. And that's all I knew. That's all I knew. You're not supposed to fool around with these.
But, so you can have guns in a house with kids, and they don't necessarily have to be locked up in order for everybody to be fine and safe. And me and my 3 brothers are living proof of that. Does that mean I would advocate or tell somebody what they should do in their household? I absolutely would never do that. You have to do what's right for you and your kids. Not all kids are, you know, well behaved.
Sure.
I mean, my brother, he was always looking for mischief, and so the fact that he never did mischief with the gun, to me, that is the winner right there.
I've gone shooting with some of my son's friends, and the kids are maniacs. And you put a real gun on their hand, and then whew, they get real serious real fast. And then when you're done,
they're maniacs again.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
So then flash forward, married Dan. Didn't flash forward a lot because I was 18 when I married Dan.
Oh my!
Yeah, we
So
knew
it
each
really
other.
was another time.
We only knew each other for 9 months.
No, 6 months.
6 months.
6
Hello?
months?
To I do was 6 months.
Yeah.
My dad.
What?
Yeah, and he's 11 years older than I am, so my dad loved him.
Oh my
dad did not love
But it was a
him.
little different. When we first got married, there wasn't one gun in my house. Not one. We had no guns. And, you know, I had a gun store before, and we had more guns in my house when I was a kid than we had silverware. Okay? And everybody knew how to handle the guns. 5 years old, we knew not to touch a gun without the parents. You're going to turn left at the light.
Turn left.
So when Cheryl and I got married, we had no guns, and her brother, you know, we'd been together. We've been married for like 5 years. Her brother come up to me one day and said, "I think I'm going to get into competition shooting. Will you go with me to the store to look at some guns?" And I said, "Okay." So we went to the store, and I saw a Glock 35, and I go, "That's kind of cool. I think I'll buy that." So I bought it.
Yeah.
About 3 months later, we probably had 100 guns in the house.
Oh my God!
It's just like
It's
an
crazy.
addiction, you know. And you got to have
guns are like
everything.
potato chips.
Right.
You can't have just one.
No.
It's true.
So I filled, we had an extra bathroom at our house, an extra bathroom. So I took everything out of it, and I made that a safe. And when it got to where you couldn't move in there, I told Cheryl, I says, "I think we need to open the store."
Oh my gosh.
So
I pretty much got hoodwinked into the whole thing. The whole thing. So, and it's been a wonderful thing, don't get me wrong, but we had found ourselves at a place in our life where what I always thought that I was going to do when I grew up was to be a psychologist. So, did you hear what he just did right now?
Yeah, well,
did
you
you
know,
hear that noise?
He should be your thesis.
Right?
Like you need to write a book.
Right?
let me out right up here.
I know.
You guys
Yeah,
know
it
college.
just got a little hot in the back.
We'll even slow down.
So we were in a place in our life where we could have kind of, you know, sort of semi-retired, or he could have. I could have finished my schooling and then started my journey for, you know, I was going to buy my Freud pipe and a sofa, right? And those little round glasses, and I was just going to sit there and...
So tell me what you really...
That's right. Tell me about your mother.
Right.
You know, when did it all begin?
You know, sometimes a banana is a banana. Come on.
Who knew? I mean, it's true. So anyway, that was kind of where we were, and I was getting ready to start back up with school because I never went to college until after we had already had our daughter Cassie. And so it was so much harder because it was just grabbing classes here and grabbing classes there, and, you know, in between work and being a mom and all that stuff, and it just felt like it was taking forever my associate's degree, and then it felt like it was forever to get my bachelor's degree, and then that's kind of where I'd stalled out.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to go back and get my master's, and then he was like buying all these guns and getting all excited, and his palms were sweating about how excited he was about all the guns. And he's like, babe, I think I just need one more thing. Do you remember saying that?
Oh yeah.
One more thing.
One more
I did.
thing.
At that time, that's all I needed.
And so one more business is what he meant, because we'd always been in some kind of form of a business together.
Yeah.
And so I was just so done with the overhead of a brick and mortar, and, you know, dealing with staff and taxes and all the stuff, the regulations, all the stuff that goes along with being in business. And so he's like, well, I just need this one more thing. Well, at the time, he was also hanging out with a friend of ours who lived across the street, who had an auction house. Right? And so...
Well, first of all, we bought this building. We were going to open an auction house and a museum.
No, you skipped
a gun shop. A gun shop.
You skipped a step.
Yeah.
So I just need one more thing. Remember
Just
that part?
one more thing.
So he starts looking for buildings.
Right. Yeah.
For his one more thing. And every building just so happened. I mean, imagine the odds that every single building was set up just right for two business entities under the same roof.
No way.
Right? One size just right for a gun shop, and the other size just right for an auction house. So...
Yeah, but originally we were going to make a museum out of it, but
this is what
we
he tells
ran
me,
out of
and I
money.
pretend to believe him.
So we opened an auction house. And our first auction was funny. It was really funny.
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't what it is now.
We sold trash. And we only did one and said, we're not doing that anymore.
Oh my gosh.
So, and then, you know, they've both been a blessing. One, you know, when it's slow on one side, the other side's busy, and plus, you know, a guy can walk in and sell us 200 guns because we have an outlet for them.
Yeah.
So it worked out real good for us.
It really did. But his one more thing, I can count. It was two.
See, now this is strategic planning. That's what this is.
Yeah.
But I used
totally
that again.
Snookered me into the whole thing.
I used that again. I told her I got one more thing. So in October we're going to do one more thing. So it's going to be an auction house. And now we moved the auction house to its own building now.
Yep.
Which we'll show you later. But so it's bigger now. So now we're taking the gun shop and we're moving it into the old auction house, which makes it a lot more room. And then we're going to be the only pinball distributor in Arizona.
Wow.
So that's our
first time announcement.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Riding
Exclusive.
Right?
A riding shotgun exclusive. I love this.
We just got the contract just last week, and so there's that one other thing.
So now that's three. I can count. Okay, people? Snookered. Oh, can we add the radio show? That would be 4.
Oh, that was a weird thing. The radio show. So,
no, wait a second.
I don't know.
What's the name of the radio show? Look right in the camera and say it.
Gun Freedom Radio.
So that's another story. So Cheryl and I were doing advertising on KTAR.
Yeah.
And
it's an FM station. It's a big FM station here in Phoenix.
So one day they offered us an opportunity, and I don't remember all what happened, but I knew how much Cheryl loved a microphone. More than me, okay? Okay, that's it.
I don't know
microphone or me, it's a microphone.
I rarely even talk.
So anyway, I said, Cheryl, you should do a radio show and about guns, because we were doing just like a 15-minute segment with another Get Outdoors with Mike Russell, which is a great guy, and it was going great. And 15 minutes was never enough.
Hard to believe.
So we signed up for our own hour show, and that was going along really well. And I think Cheryl was getting fantastic guests.
All right, what do we call this?
This is...
Is it a roundabout or is it a rotary?
We call them roundabouts here.
Roundabout.
I call them a pain in the butts, but...
That's probably more accurate.
I call them roundy rounds. So
roundy rounds?
It's a technical term.
Very high tech.
Right. We're here in Arizona. That's what they're called, roundy round.
Roundy round. Okay.
So anyway, so we're having the 15-minute show, and we got the hour show, and everything's going great. And then one day KTAR said, "Well, we don't really want you talking about guns on the radio."
Okay.
And they're they're not really a far left show, but radio station. But anyway, they didn't like the gun thing, so they asked us if we would get out of our contract. So we went to an AM station and went to 2 hours, which Cheryl absolutely loved.
Is that almost enough time to talk?
It's
not for
almost
her.
enough.
Almost enough.
But here's another one of those times when I got schnookered, okay? So it's 15 minutes, fine. Then it's like, Dan says, well, we need the hour.
Yeah.
I get that. That's great. Totally do that. Who is doing all the research and the guest...
the guest prep.
Right.
Show prep and...
contacting people to bring them on as guests and writing all the content and everything else. Not that guy, this guy right
I
here.
gotta do my hair. I ain't got time for that.
This guy right here. So then he's like, babe, an hour's not enough. We've got to have 2 hours. And I'm like, well, I'd love to have 2 hours, but here's the thing is that's double the work, right? And he's like, no, you can totally do it.
Stop.
Just do it.
Stop.
Just
Turn the mic off. Listen, Charlie, between you and I, the only reason I went from an hour to 2 hours, so I can at least say, hi, I'm the other guy. That's it.
And how did that work out for you?
I needed that extra hour
says,
just
hi,
to be able to have
He says, hi, I'm the other guy, and that's his part of the show.
That's it. So,
what more do you need?
That's right. So that had to be 2 hours, because an hour show, she goes, we could go back to an hour show, but you're not going to be able to say,
you're
hi.
out.
You're the other. So, in other words, you can just carry my computer to the studio.
Right.
And that'd be all.
And you're done.
So.
Now, in fairness, we did invent a segment for him that he kind of wanted to have a rant, because we get heated up about the stuff going on with our gun rights.
Yeah.
All this crazy rhetoric that people throw around, and they're constantly trying to infringe more and more and more on our rights. And so he's like, I want to rant, and I'm like, no, we are not that kind of show.
We're not screamers. We're not shouters.
We're not the angry teeth gnashing. I know more than
Even
everybody
when they
else.
say they're going after your AR-15s and AKs,
even if I'm not saying I don't have a reaction, but then I calm down.
On the radio, she's calm. At home, she has a reaction. That's all I got to say.
That's may or may not be true.
Don't watch the news with Cheryl.
So this is what I've learned about women. They're all crazy. They're all crazy. They're all civil. They all are.
I can hear you though.
That's okay.
I can,
because it's true.
I am not going to confirm nor deny the truth of what you just said.
So
anyway, so we invented this segment that was just for Dan, and instead of a rant, we called it his commentary.
That's awesome.
See what I did there?
That's awesome.
See what I did there?
But it was really calm.
So he did a good job with staying calm.
Yeah.
And we always got to end with James Brown.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that horn blast.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah. You can appreciate the horn blast.
I love James Brown. Love James Brown.
So anyway, yeah. So a 15-minute show grew into a 2-hour show. Again, I'm so happy that it did. It's been a wonderful, amazing journey. And Dan is always the gas pedal. He is the gas pedal of our life, and I am desperately trying to
hit the brakes.
And they're burnt out. There's I just gotta try to navigate the road so we don't hit the big things.
When he's got an idea, it's a lot more work for you.
Yes, that's how it goes.
And that's what he has great ideas.
So
there you go.
It's we are a good team for that, because like the stuff that he is amazing at, like he has an encyclopedic knowledge of guns and coins. Like all I know what to do with coins is spend them. Okay?
Right?
But and coin collecting, I kind of thought was starting to wane a little bit. But we're starting to see younger people come in, and that's the auction house side of things.
Wow.
So, and there's a lot of history involved in coin collection, coin collecting. So that makes me happy, because I sometimes feel like history is a dead door. Like nobody cares. We've rewritten history. We've just, made up our own version of even who our founding fathers were and that sort of thing. But, world coins, ancient coins, it's a fascinating thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
That's awesome. So, how long you guys have, let's talk about your store. You guys have had this store for a long time. I remember this. This is what I think is really cool about where I've gotten with the riding shotgun stuff and the stuff that I've been doing the last couple of years is a number of years ago, somebody broke into your store.
Yeah.
But it's not that they broke into the store.
Yeah.
They just tore the front wall off. And I don't know if we can find video of this. If I can, I'm going to put it on here. But they
they tried to make it a drive-through. Is what they
It wasn't
tried
a
to do.
drive-by, it was a drive-through.
Why you gotta hurt my heart, Charlie?
I just know, because this is part of your history.
It's true.
Because I remember watching this as a relatively new gun guy. I'm like, yeah, that's crazy. And then to eventually get to the point where we're friends.
Yeah, it was the only time we've ever gone viral, I think, or something like that. Somebody or trending. We were trending.
We're trending.
Yes.
What's trending? Well, somebody, tore our building down.
Yeah.
Well, somebody stole a car, and a group of people got in it and rammed through the building.
Presbyterians, right? Is that what they were?
Probably. I mean,
on their way home from
here's the cool
church meeting, potluck.
Here's the cool thing about it. They didn't get a single gun. They couldn't get in the store because we had roller shields up.
Wow.
The other cool thing is there was blood all over the car.
Oh my gosh.
But we didn't catch them. But they got nothing.
So why is it cool there was blood in the car? Because we know that it hurt a little bit when that bag went off. That what's the thing in the car?
Airbag.
The airbag.
And somebody, they tried to get in. You could see figures trying to get into the store, but they just couldn't get in it. And the police station's like 4 blocks down the road. So I don't know what they were thinking, that they have a lot of time. But the bad thing is $170,000 in damage.
Wow.
For that.
Yeah.
Wow. And they got nothing.
And
thank God they got nothing.
A week of being closed.
Yep.
And a week of being up almost 24 hours a day.
It was crazy.
That's the sad part. But,
it was crazy.
That is nuts. How long ago was that?
It was a couple of years ago.
5-6 years.
Maybe
5 or 6 years.
We've had 3 break-ins in the store. One of them, they actually got in.
All right, is this the dead end or is this the dead end? We're gonna do a U-turn here someplace.
You can go straight, I think. Still.
All right.
We've had 3 break-ins. One of them, they were able to get 11 guns, but they caught them.
Cool.
And the other time, the first time they drove through our big roll-up door and got nothing. And then, so that's all we've had. And we've got roller shields, and they're awesome. They can stop a car from coming through.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So when they stole these guns, they didn't go through background checks, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Even though there's universal background checks.
So here's.
Here's the bad thing. The guy was under. So we know, can't prove it, but we know because we have video of the kid coming in with an adult.
This is the dead end, isn't it?
All right.
Yeah, this is where they want you.
Kids.
Unless you want to go off road.
Whoa.
4-wheel drive in our little.
Well, it is a rental.
Sedan.
As Rob Campbell likes to say, we got the insurance and we're not afraid to use it.
That's great.
So the adults paid the kid to steal the guns.
Oh my God.
They stole a short barrel shotgun that was registered. The ATF would not prosecute because he was underage.
Are you kidding me?
I am not kidding you one bit. And I was so angry because they caught him.
We need more laws.
They caught him.
We need more laws, right? Because they're not going to enforce the ones we have. We better get some new ones.
Right, the 22,000 laws we have on the books.
Right.
He spent less time in jail than I spent the first night cleaning up.
Oh my God.
And
it's awful.
And they did nothing. I went to court, tried to get him more time.
Yeah.
It was during Christmas time, and they felt sorry for him because he wasn't going to be able to be with his family. And then, so what did he do? He broke into another place and stole some stuff, and then they gave him 6 months probation. So it's like they're not doing anything to people that steal guns.
No, they're not.
They're just not doing it. It's almost like they want the crime out there so that they can whine about the irresponsible people.
See, he's getting ready to rant right now. Remember the commentary.
So, are you ready for this? I had in 2007, I had some guns that were stolen from me. I flew from Providence to Chicago to hang out with one of my childhood friends. We hadn't talked in a long time, and I'm like, hey man, I'm into guns, and this is what I do now, instructor and everything. So I flew from Providence to Chicago. When I came back, the big mistake that I made at the airport was I stopped at the bathroom. And stopping in the bathroom gave some DB, some dirtbag, gave him enough time to steal my suitcase at the terminal, or at the carousel. Walked off with my suitcase and 4 handguns that were in there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Now, I was relatively new. I'd only been shooting for 4 or 5 years, maybe. The only gun that I was really concerned about was the Browning Challenger 22 semi-auto target pistol that my father bought my mother back in the 60s. I had a J-frame revolver, didn't care about that. I got a Glock, didn't care about that. Had a Smith & Wesson Model 19 with a 6-inch barrel. I don't want to say I don't care about these guns,
No,
but
I know, but it's the family heirloom.
It is.
Memories. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's awful.
I did all the stuff I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
The guns were stolen. 2 weeks. Now, I did all this stuff, like I called the news stations in Boston and Chicago and in Providence, and I had a guy from the CBS station in Boston come out, and he's like, hey, I want to follow up on this and see what's going on. I'm like, dude, I have no idea what's going on. So he came out, did a story, ended up on the news, right? My buddy's in Chicago. He's like, dude, your picture's right there, right on the news.
Oh, wow.
That's the coolest thing, right? 2 weeks after they were stolen,
news.
I know, right? 2 weeks after they were stolen, I get a phone call from this guy, and he says, hey, my roommate stole all your stuff. He got caught by the Providence Police Department, and I'm turning everything over to the Pawtucket Police. Pawtucket's a little town outside of Providence. I'm like, everything? He's like, everything. So I called the Pawtucket Police Department, let him know what was going on. Later that week, I went down and picked up 3 of my guns. He got caught trying to sell my snub-nose revolver in downtown Providence, so they had to hang on to that. Now, we all have nicknames for our carry guns, right? So, the nickname I call my carry gun is The Evidence, because it was the evidence that this guy had.
That's awesome.
I got all my guns back. Now, getting back to the point, the judge wanted to put this guy in jail for 1 year. Stealing a firearm in Rhode Island is 1 to 10 years. Selling a stolen firearm is 10 to 15. I don't want to be a jerk, so they sent me a letter and said, well, how much time do you think he should serve? I said 35 years. I'm middle of the road. 5 years for 4 guns, right? That's 20 years. 15 instead of 20. The judge wanted to put him away for 1 year. I wrote a letter to the judge, and I said anything less than 10 years is unconscionable. He stole my suitcase. He didn't know guns were in it. Okay. He broke into the 2 cases that I had that were locked and secured inside of my suitcase. He broke into both of those and took one of the guns and tried to sell it in downtown Providence, and that should be worth 10 years. And the judge put him away for 10 years.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, put him away for 10 years.
I am surprised and impressed with that, because here's the thing, is that the side that's on the Constitution in this whole argument about, gun laws, that sort of thing, we are the law-abiding, right? We are the ones that are trying to navigate the laws the best we can.
Yep.
The other side wants to paint it like we just want it to be the Wild West and nobody's ever held responsible for anything. And it's actually kind of the opposite, right?
Completely.
And so, the other side would probably not even know what to do with that story, except that they would go the bleeding heart route and say, why did he have to serve? He probably had a mouth to feed at home. And it's like, I know, but there's a lot of other things you can do than stalk the airport and wait for somebody to go to the bathroom.
This guy had been doing this before. They knew who he was. I was the only one in the courtroom when they laid down the sentence. The guy was my age, and there's the victim here. I'm like, I'm the victim. I've never been a victim before. I'm a victim. I had no clue. Is the victim here? And the attorney says, yes, he is. I was the only one in the courtroom besides all the other people that were involved in everything. The guy walked right by me, looked at me, and started sniffling. And I just looked straight ahead like, nothing, man. Ice, baby. Ice. Looking straight forward. This is what you get.
So he didn't give you a thank you card or anything?
I am enough of a jerk that I wanted to send him an anniversary card.
Yes.
That's funny.
But my
9 to go.
My then wife talked me out of it.
Oh, that's funny.
9 to go. And every year send him another one. 8 to go.
Being an instructor, I tell this story all the time. And I always tell people on August 27th, 2017 is when this guy gets out of jail. And for that last year, I'm like, he's getting out of jail this year. Because every time it's been, it's 10 years, he's getting away for 7 years from now, it's 5 years. All of a sudden it's like, dude, this guy's getting out this year. Holy crap. And they're like, are you afraid? I'm like, no. 1, I moved. 2, he knows I have guns. And 3, I already sent him to jail. I'll gladly send him back.
That's a good point.
Right?
That's a good point. But see, that's the thing. And the father of Meadow, one of the victims of the Parkland murders, high school murders, Andrew Pollock is his name.
Yes. He's been in the news recently.
Yeah, he has just actually written a book about what happened with his daughter and all of that. But one of the main points that he makes is that the bad guy in this story, he did something, was not held accountable. Then he did something else, was not held accountable. And it went on and on and on and on, and he was never held accountable. So each time he did something, it was a bigger something. Right. It was a more bold something.
Straight.
And so...
straight or
straight?
Around straight.
And
this lane's good?
This is making you turn right, left. You don't want to turn left.
Okay.
And so if we were to use our laws for the purpose that they were put in place,
yep.
Right? Laws aren't there to prevent behavior, because that's never going to happen.
Right.
They're there to give some teeth to the legal system once somebody has infringed on that law, right, or broken that law.
Yep.
And so, what's going on in Chicago? Rhonda Ezell, I think she's been one of your guests.
She was a passenger last year. Yeah.
So we are both DC Project delegates. And so this last year, she was on my team as we went through Washington, D.C. and met with our different legislators. And when we were in her legislator's office, she was talking to them about how people commit crimes with guns, and they're out like that day.
It's the revolving door of justice.
They're like back on the street, and then they're going to do another thing with a gun, probably, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then another and another and another.
A different gun that they got illegally.
Yes. And so she's saying if we would just keep the small number of bad apples that are creating all of this crime and driving all of these statistics, if we would just, quarantine them the way that they need to be quarantined.
Right, if we're supposed to do the stuff that's supposed to be done.
Right. But no, everybody's just ready to go and birth a brand new, shiny new law.
Right, they're getting their life back together. I've been doing this since, I've been doing this for the last 2 weeks. I'm not just saying we're law-abiding. I'll put down freedom-loving, law-abiding, but the last one that I've added is background check passing.
Background check.
Yes, the law-abiding background check passing people.
Yes.
Because in Massachusetts, you have to have a license to purchase and possess, and you have to have a license in order to carry.
Okay.
Like, you can't buy anything without a license out there. So you have to go through.
Wait a minute. We live in Arizona. I don't know what language he's speaking right now, because we don't need any of those things, and we have constitutional carry. Thank you very much.
This is free America out here.
That's right.
So when I got off the plane, I went over to a Whataburger to get something to eat. Snuck out, pulled my gun out of the car, put it on my ankle.
Did you suddenly just feel more free?
I loved it. I'm like, I was going from the airport to pick up the shuttle cart. I'm like, can I put my gun out here? At the airport place? I don't know. I don't know.
People can walk around.
You can walk with a gun loaded on your side, or you can have it concealed. Either one.
As long as
you're not a felon.
Right.
As long as you're over 21 and not a federally prohibited.
So we had this guy
threatening anybody or breaking any laws. Why wouldn't you be able to?
Right.
We had a guy come in the store, and he asked to see a gun, and he ran off with it. Okay, he fell on the way out. We were able to catch him at an apartment complex.
Mm-hmm.
They come with machine guns and surrounded the building and got him to come out. He was arrested. The next day, he came in the store and said, "You guys are messing with my rights."
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Believe
right.
it.
But
Believe that he did that, because he did.
He got 7 years for that.
Unbelievable.
And I was one of the helpers to get him 7 years. So maybe I should send him a card.
So when the judge said, "Where's the victim?" he probably thought he was referring to him.
Yeah.
Because he said he was a victim of us because we had the audacity to call the police.
Dan raises his hand.
Yeah.
I'm the victim.
Right.
He tried to steal our stuff.
Right. And then the guy who stole it is like, "No, it's me. I'm the victim because they called the police on me." So it's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy. All right. So how did you begin? We're going to talk about the polka dot stuff. because you are here in polka dots.
You noticed.
How can
Actually,
it's hard to see you because you're in your polka dot camo.
that's right. I'm not even here. You don't even see me.
I don't. You're like a head. A talking head.
So polka dots, that's you. You started this whole thing.
This is how it came about. I was dating this woman, and I'm telling her all this cool stuff that I'm doing, and I would tell her about you, and I'm like, I'm going to meet Cheryl, and I saw Cheryl here, and we were at SHOT Show, and Cheryl's taking me around. It's like show and tell. She's showing me off. It's great.
I was showing you off. I was very proud of my friend.
and then I would tell her, talk about you again, and she's like, is that the polka dot lady? And I'm like, yeah, she does wear a lot of polka dots. She does wear a lot of polka dots.
And so you shared that with me, and I'm like, why am I the polka dot lady? And he's like, because you wear a lot of polka dots. So I go and I look at my closet, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have a lot of polka dots.
Well, you can't see them because they're camouflage.
That's right. And so I decided to, which side is it on? I decided to embrace the whole thing that you started. I love that. And so now the little hashtag is polka dots are my camo.
Love it.
And I had talked to this illustrator who had made this cute little caricature or illustration.
Yeah, she did a bunch of these for the DC Project ladies.
She
right?
did.
Yeah.
And so mine, I kind of went with, I'm always in something very feminine, the flared skirts and that sort of thing. And with the AR, because it's not I am not the gun owner that the stereotype would have me be.
This is completely true.
Right?
Right.
And so we had this darling little caricature, but didn't quite know what to do with it. And then Dan decided.
He's so sweet.
He's so sweet.
He's so smart.
So?
At the SHOT Show, I found a guy, and I had him made the pin.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how it all...
And so now we have these cute little pins that we can sell, and not for a lot, but any little bit helps to, pay to travel. It's expensive to travel and go do this advocacy and go to DC every summer and go speak in Delaware and, all the different things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is one little piece of being able to, recoup some money to help with those things.
That's cool.
And then we did I was asked to speak at the Well-Armed Woman annual conference this year.
Mm.
And so my PR and marketing specialist, Kim Bishop, she's so brilliant. So she's like talking to Carrie Lightfoot, the founder of the Well-Armed Woman, and their color is purple. So she's like, so what if we made our little, she calls her Dottie, what if we made our little Dottie pin in a purple polka dotted dress?
There you go.
And
just for a
But what color is that?
Blue. That one's blue.
You're colorblind. Yes, this one's blue. And so we're like, you know what? We could probably do that for different
events, different things. That's cool.
So it was really fun.
Cool.
So she'd be like trading pins like at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I got the yellow one. What's the yellow one for? Oh, that was a very short run pin.
It was very expensive. Very right.
exclusive.
If you have to ask,
like they only made a few of them.
Yes, that's right.
It's a limited run.
Limited run. So that has been a really fun thing because it's not just about, Cheryl wears a lot of polka dot dresses. At the time that you brought it up, and I started realizing, I wear a lot of polka dots. I think it was that day I was giving a speech or something, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and kind of incorporate that. And because the speech was about the power of the individual and the power of the ordinary warrior that all of us are. Sometimes we sit back and we think, well, I'm just one person. What can I possibly do to, affect change around me? Mm-hmm. But if we are all doing what we can do, we are a powerful force. And so I incorporated the ordinary warrior in with, the fact that, you don't see me across a room and go, oh, there's one of those crazy gun advocates or one of those crazy 2A people.
I do.
Because know me, right?
Now he does.
Or they wouldn't even think, she owns the gun store, It's my camo, right? I just look like a mom. I just look like a grandma. And I sit on boards and I interact with people, and then they get to know me as a person first. And then by the time they realize, ew, she does something with guns, it's too late because they already like me.
That's awesome. That is great. That is awesome. All right, so what else do you do? You do the DC project, which is great. You talked about that. I've talked to a lot of women from the DC project, which is wonderful. Obviously, you would be an easy pick for someone here in Arizona. What else do you guys have? Do you guys have the Arizona Citizens Defense League?
Arizona Citizens Defense League. They are the reason that we have constitutional carry in Arizona.
Nice.
They are the watchmen on the wall, and they are the guard dogs in the court, and they are a group of ordinary warriors, ordinary citizens, came from the East Coast, somehow ended up...
Don't hold it against them.
I'm just telling you. Actually, it's because they'd already experienced life without freedom. That when they came here to Arizona...
They came from occupied territory to free America.
And they realized, look, we have got to hold that line with everything that we are.
Yeah.
And so I just absolutely love everything that they do. I try to support them in every way I can. And then they started the AZCDL Foundation, which is more their educational arm. And it's a 501c3 where if people do give donations, then it's tax deductible.
Cool.
Where with the AZCDL proper, it's not structured that way because they can lobby. And so they asked me if I would sit on their board, and so I'm super proud about that.
Wow.
So I'm the vice president of the AZCDL Foundation, and our mission is to try to bring the Faster Saves Lives school safety program to Arizona.
Excellent.
So we just hosted Colonel Dave Grossman to come out and talk to a room full of, there was educators, there was law enforcement, there were several state representatives, to try to help them understand the whys. Why do we have a need? Not that it's foreign to us to think that we have a need, but he just frames it in such a way that you sit there and you think, I can't believe that we aren't already hardening our schools the way that we do our Capitol buildings and our
everything else,
banks and and then we had Jim Irvine from Faster Saves Lives. He kind of capped the day off, and people stayed the entire day. It was a full day, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Everybody was fully engaged, and that was just a week ago, so we don't know what the results were, but we're hoping that people see the need, feel the need, and they're gonna support us financially. And
that's awesome.
And those kinds of things. I'm also on the board of the Arizona State Rifle and Pistol Association, and that is the state arm of the NRA.
Yep.
And so I am media director for them.
Very cool.
And they do so much with safety and education for firearms and youth shooting, and so I love being a part of that organization. What else do we do?
So what do you do in your free time?
She's a grandma on her free time.
She's a grandma.
And that's 5 days a week at least.
Oh yeah, the grandkids are adorable.
Thank you. I love them.
All right, listen, we are back in town, and you guys got to get us to the other store that you guys have.
We're headed there now. It's right down the street here.
All right.
This is Old Town Avondale. From the building that we're in, that we're going to be going to, is 1928.
Wow.
Yeah.
They call it historic Avondale now.
Old Town.
Historic. Yeah.
They thought that was a little more pinky up than Old Town, I guess. I don't know.
Old Town sounded too old.
I guess. I don't know.
It's historic.
It's not a pinky up area for sure. It's just a very normal slice of Americana. But we are the proverbial corner mom and pop's shop in shops. True.
Plural.
In anywhere America. So it's love. I love it.
God bless you guys. This is great. I'm glad to finally be out here. I've never been out here, seeing all of the flatland and then the mountains. It's pretty cool.
We're on the right, that green building right there.
All right. Oh, where it says Pot of Gold Auctions. All right, we're gonna pull in here. Do we can pull right here.
Right.
We're going to pull in right here so we get some of this in the front. We're going to go in. We're going to check out the AZ Firearms. Where can people find all of your stuff?
On all of the social media platforms.
No, hold on. I'm going to complain.
Yay!
I'm gonna do a
If it's about social media, yes, please
Right?
do.
I see a picture from you come up on Instagram. The same picture, 7 different accounts? Is it 7 accounts or is it more?
It's not 7.
She
It's
can't
not
account.
7?
No,
It's
it's
not
probably
7.
10 then.
It's not 7. But
It's-
see, I have different followers on different accounts.
Oh my gosh.
So
I start looking, I'm like, did I like this one? Or I saw this
just
one.
like it. Just like it anyway.
Like, Cheryl's going to think I'm stalking her. Dan's going to get pissed.
Charlie, listen, she's so addicted to her phone. We go on a trip. She texts me. She won't talk to me. Okay? She'll text me something. And she really has.
Send.
Well, I wanted you to remember this. I was like, why don't you just tell me? I'm driving down the road illegally with the text and...
Sorry, you guys still talking because I'm checked out. So yes, we are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We are on Facebook.
The Facebook.
The
The
Facebook.
Facebook. I said that because I'm old.
And maybe we do have 7 accounts. Let's find out. We have AZFirearms.com. We have Pot of Gold Auctions. We have Polka Dots Are My Camo. We have Cheryl Todd's professional page.
Gun
We have
Freedom Radio.
Gun Freedom Radio. And we have Cheryl Todd's regular, normal, where I post all my grandbaby pictures. See, not 7.
6.
It's not 7.
7 is the over-under. You're just under.
And right now I've been kind of doing the AmCon
Oh, the MCon stuff as
Instagram
well, right?
because I asked Susan and Paul and they're like, Insta what? And I'm like, all right, you guys do the Facebook part, I'll do the Instagram part, at least to get us through this weekend, because there's too many things to not have posted up.
Oh my gosh,
So-
absolutely.
And so now you know why we can be married 34 years and survive, because we never see each other.
There we go. This is what I've talked to some other people that have been married for a long time, and the wife is like, yeah, he travels for work. I see him on the weekends. There we go.
There we go.
There's the success to marriage is to not be together.
That's true. But really, we do work together all the time. The trick there is everybody's got to have their own space. I don't try to do Dan things. He doesn't try to do Cheryl things. We pie chart our
Well,
life.
I tried the purple or the polka dot dress.
It just didn't go.
It just didn't go.
It just
Doesn't go with his earth
It
tones.
did not at all. And so so that's really the key, is that just kind of know, what he's good at, let him be good at it.
Mhm.
What I'm good at, he's great about just letting me run with it, including using up all the microphone time. So thank you for that, Ben.
That's no
You're very-
problem. That's what I
He's,
did.
he's used to it.
It's
All right.
got to be by now.
So we're going to add all these links in the show description. Please check them out. Please check out the Self-Defense Radio Network at sdrn.us. Cheryl, thank you so much for being on. Dan, thank you for being
Thank
back
you. It was
there.
great.
The
Thank
other
you.
guy.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you guys later.